Shadow Swanna re-enters the arena, looks to overfarm before firing off the Aqua Jet, looking to remove Marowak from the field of play. Marowak invests to protect shield, the opponent then pivots out into the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, blink, and you might miss it. Talonflame straight in and straight out. Back out comes Alolan Marowak. Swanna gonna be investing the protect shield, the opponent goes for the double resisted Bone Club bait, but that bait will not be saving this opponent's fate. The opponent reaches the last second Bone Club. Swanna shrugs off the damage, leaves with the fly locked and loaded, and that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute since I've uploaded, but you know what? We've got a new season. We decided to have a little go at this Pokemon Go PvP thing once again. As always, for those of you that have been here before, we're going to be running nothing but triple shadow shenanigans and looking to put some of this basic bitch bullshit meta to the sword. Today's featured Pokemon is going to be a Pokemon that I actually didn't have built, despite having one. That tells you just how bad it used to be. A Shadow Swanna. Can this former meme pick now become a dream pick? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles! And in game one, we are not off to the best start as we lead Swanna into Licky far too thicky. Team building, I'm actually ABA weak to rock, well at least on paper, but both the things that are weak to rock have the ability to hit back for super effective, with the Aqua Jet and of course the Legacy Energy Ball on Ninetales. With water being the most common type in the Great League, you don't see that many actual rock types. You see the occasional Bastion or Carbink, however, in week one, are people going to run it? Yes, of course they are, because people are basic. However, then people are just playing RPS, and hopefully they get a line against my Quagsire. Returning to the commentary, the opponent seems very, very fearful of this Quagsire, so I already thought, please tell me I'm not about to see a Bastion on. Well, they have managed to get shields down. Hopefully Swanna hits hard enough to two-shot with them Aqua Jets, or maybe it'll be a combination of a couple of Aqua Jets and some kind of weatherball fire from my Ninetales. We've all got energy on Swanna, so I'm going to send Ninetales out. I'm going to go for the one shield, look for the full Ember farm down, and hopefully we get to nuke something in the back. Ninetales leads with residual energy good to go. And what the heck is on my screen? Well, I know it's Obstagoon, but is that a Lick Obstagoon? I guess counter's pretty trash nowadays. That is a wild week one pick. Two Weather Walls don't quite get the job done. And unfortunately, the opponent does reach a last second charge move. But Swanna, over to you, buddy. Close the show. Swanna gets off one further Gust. Flapping away. Out comes Lapras. The opponent goes for the show and go. No such luck, Swanna. Gets the farm down of Licky, far too thicky, and Lapras, you sir might think you're thick, but are you thick enough? Holy crap. That fly did absurd damage. The first one leaves them deep in the red, and the second vanquishes them back to the Pokeball. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, see a battle of water types. I'm actually super hyped to see Kingdra get so much love recently. Dragon Breath reworked maybe like a year ago, got access to Swift, a cheap move, and now Surf as well. Which means they've got a cheap-ish water move that actually has meaningful damage, unlike Octazooka. The opponent out here dunking on me like a savage. Well, catch the resisted fly onto Tinkaton, although it still did quite a lot of damage. I rebank it and send out Ninetales. One of the drawbacks of using moves like Gust, Confusion, or even Incinerate, them 4 and 5 turn moves, they are a bit clunky and quite easy for people to make catches, but they do quite a lot of damage. It's kind of a trade-off. I personally don't tend to use the longer moves too often because you can get stuck in the animation and people can snipe you and stuff, which is super frustrating. What is less frustrating is the opponent pivoting out into my Mud Boy, into my loaded Water Flyer. I fire off the Aqua Jet, recognise. We're going to save Swanna because it does good fast move pressure into both remaining Pokemon, and Quagsire's kind of dead weight. We annoyingly get debuffed quickly. Have a Quagsire grinning away, going to do his best, fire off an Aqua Tail. And this I actually remember playing. I always joke that I'm washed up, but check this play out. This is vintage Jamie Finn. The opponent made a catch earlier. I thought, you're going to try and catch an Aqua Tail, ain't you, trainer? Oh, you made a beautiful catch, I promise. Nah, Stone Edge to the face. Quick switch into Swanna. Holy crap, this is like vintage Jamie Finn, right on display. As the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That was very, very satisfying. Heading into the next battle, we see the channel mascot, Drapion. Well, actually, it's not Shadow, so it's not really the mascot, but this was definitely a Pokemon that I used way back in the day before it got super popular. As I mentioned in the previous battle, using a clunky 4-turn move. It's quite easy to make catches, but this time I'm a bit more disciplined. The opponent goes for the Aqua Jet catch on the Gelatin unsuccessfully, and Swanna's just kind of running away with the team here. It's able to land the fly. We are down both Protect Shields, but leave with residual energy good to go. Out comes Togekiss, and we should force both Protect Shields back in or do massive, massive damage. Swanna's almost 1v3'd. I don't really like giving Togekiss loads of energy, but I'm just playing for alignment here. We're going to line Ninetales into the Fairy. Drapion, of course, running Aqua Tail, something Ninetales won't appreciate, so we're going to save Quagsire for it. The opponent actually completely sacrifices Drapion, which more than works for me. Togekiss is such a glassy Pokemon in the Great League. I'm actually looking forward to its Shadow release. That's going to be one hell of a glassy boy. You can see the combination of a couple of Gusts and a few Embers have very easily put this Togekiss into Aqua Tail range. No need to reach for the Stone Edge. The Aqua Tail is locked and loaded, and we're able to take that game. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see the absolute dream lead. Swanna into Dartrix. I was thinking, why is the opponent staying in? And clearly they probably were thinking, oof, Swanna, that's a problem. They send up Marowak, that of course also has a losing matchup. Again, when they send out the Quagman, get into a matchup it likes, Dartrix, not really something it wants to see. So we send it out here, the opponent fires off the Bone Club. They're going to have to throw a Shadow Ball or Shadow Bone to remove me, and they do exactly that. Ouch, poor old Quagsire. Essentially uses a damage sponge. Back out comes Swanna, 2 Gust, and the Aqua Jet. 4 good time. The opponent invests the Protect Shield, then send out the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, Blink, and you might miss it. Talonflame straight in and straight out. Swanna with 2 shields to hide behind, looking to sweep the entire team. We've already seen the Shadow Ball, which I will be respecting. The opponent goes for the Savage, double resisted Bone Club bait, and training. This needs to be a ball, as Bone Club simply will not cut it. Bone Club leaves me deep in the red. We leave with the fly, and it's time to hit him with that bang. There it is. Shout out Oxford U for that quote. Heading into the next battle. It looks like this season, Size Me Toes going to be staking its claim as the best mud boy in the Great League. We all know that Quagsire is the best. Swampert formerly the GOAT, but nowadays Quag is just the one you're looking for. The opponent gives me that debuff treatment, then pivot out into Pidgeot. You can see the opponent with similar team building ideas to myself, and Mudboy with a Flyer, which do cover each other nicely. Pidgeot, formerly a Pokemon that only had flying type moves, or you could hit normal return if you purified a Shadow, but nowadays it's got Twister, which was added this season, and Heat Wave that I believe was added last season, so a lot more flexible. Both his legacy fast moves are Wing Attack and Gust respectively, also been buffed in recent seasons, so Pidgeot should see kind of a rise back to prevalence, or at least in some limited cup metas, or potentially the Ultra League where it has got more bulk. Speaking of bulk, this opponent still opting for Feather Dance that of course does artificially inflate Pidgeot's bulk further by forcing a very annoying debuffs on the opponent. Send out Quagsire, fire off the Aqua Tails. Unfortunately, Mod Shot farming down Fly will be a very tough choice. Back out comes Size Me Toes. I do pivot into Swanna. The opponent sends out Ninetales. Oh my days. Get off absolutely no damage, and still the opponent's having the impossible task. A Mod Shot farm me down. Swanna again, putting in so much work. I did think it'd be somewhat of a meme pick, but I'll be honest, it's kind of more than holding its weight, and arguably definitely the star of the show. In the next battle, we see Excadrill, one of the buffed Drill Run users. His Drill Run a buff is kind of reworked. It is cheaper, but doesn't now hit as hard. Excadrill, though, very glassy. It's supposed to be a steel type, but look at the Gust. They may as well be super effective. They are shredding its health. Whilst Excadrill offering literally no fast pressure, they do outpace, but I didn't want to double shield immediately and just go for the full Gust farm down, so I opt to look for a catch onto Quagsire. We see a battle of mud boys. Shadow Quagsire versus Swampert. We do have the pace advantage. We're straight fours to every Aqua Tail. They're 5 then 4 because the Hydro Cannon hits a lot harder. Despite hitting harder, landing the Hydro Cannon doesn't quite put me into Mud Shot farm down range. Before we reach the departing Aqua Tail, we now send out Swanna. I'm going to respect the potential Sludge. Not really sure if they've got Sludge or Earthquake, but either way, Swanna. One glassy pick. Even a Hydro Cannon would do like half the health, because Hydro Cannon is a very hard hitting move. Out comes Glaring Wheezy, and I recognise I'm probably going to need 2 moves to take him out. Or potentially I could have flied. It does hit slightly harder. Into a Gust farm down. We've got energy, so I go for the safe play. Go for that double Aqua Jet. Back out comes Excadrill. I look to make an unnecessary catch. The opponent clearly had enough. We Ember farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we saw Fortress in the lead position. I pivot out thinking it's probably on Volt Switch. However, I have recently looked on PvPoke, and most Shadows, or at least it's recommended that you do run Bug Bites. That would have actually been a good matchup for me. We end up simultaneously swapping Quagsire into Licky, far too thick, and my timing there on the switch was horrendous. Oof, that's painful to watch. You can see my opponent here fighting for switch advantage. It can mean one of two things. They're either on Volt Switch, which means they want the alignment of Fortress into Swanna, or they're on Bug Bite and they want to flip the alignment. But trust me, trainer, if you think Swanna's a bad matchup, you are not going to be happy when you see my Cantonian Ninetales. If you go on Fortress, you've likely got a water type in the back, so that in mind, I tank one move, send out Ninetales with a shield advantage and look to get an energy lead. They don't have a water type, however, they do have a Fearow, and it looks like Ninetales should close the show, especially with an energy lead. Now, it's definitely a good chance. Use that first protection as Drill Run would probably one-shot me as Fearow hits very, very hard. The opponent still has a shield type behind themselves, opt to invest it on Fearow. I'm not really sure that's the move they're looking for, as I can just match shields. Fully Ember farm down, and of course, we just got to be mindful of the opponent looking to make a catch. They actually go for the wham, bam combo play, but Body Slam simply does not cut it. What moveset is Fortress on? Are we even going to find out? The opponent sends back out Fearow. We've got energy good to go. High Fearow, bye Fearow. Back out does come Fortress. Yes, we're low, but got plenty of HP. Hit him with that boom. Big one-hit KO, and we're able to take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see the Steel Penguin in the lead position. Kind of a neutral matchup. They're hitting for resisted with the metal sounds. We're hitting resisted with the Gust. We actually bank some energy and send out the Quagman. We are able to catch the less energy efficient Drill Peck, but unfortunately we're kind of hard punished by Gorgeist. I say kind of. We do resist the Incinerate. They resist the Mud Shots, but they far outpace the Seed Bomb. Double super effective, and this time it's me straight in and straight out. Back out comes Swanna. Swanna looks to fire off the fly before tanking a Seed Bomb, and is able to remove them from the field of play. I really wasn't sure how I was going to get rid of this Penguin. When I was looking at the Gust damage, I was thinking, you know what? They don't look all that resisted. We overfarm. Fire off the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet gets little respect, and the opponent sends out a 2-shield Altaria, and I immediately think, oh god, I fucked up. Now Ninetales no longer on Psyshock, opts for his Legacy Energy Ball. We can only hit for resisted. I personally used to run the Overheat moveset. Yes, that'd still be resisted, but Overheat hits like a truck. Now I'm thinking, I just don't think I can get rid of it. I think potentially I should have went for Energy Balls. It does have potential to drop the opponent's defense, and I think I really need the defense drop. Either that, I'll try and get him into one Gust farm down range, which I don't think we're going to do, or reach the departing Weather Ball, which we actually do neither. So we'll do just a Weather Ball there. We should sneak if game works as intended. I've now received the energy for the Aqua Tail, or Aqua Jet I should say, but unfortunately neither occur. Altaria able to survive, and we do take a heartbreaking defeat. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Tinkaton in the lead position. That's now a very, very top tier threat in both the Great and the Ultra League. It did have a com day the last couple of months. I didn't actually play. That was while I was on a break from the game. But of course, it doesn't have a shadow variant. I personally don't really give a crap about it. The opponent banks some energy as we pivot into Quagsire, and then they send out Dust Noir. The opponent shields up the Aqua Tail, one Mud Shot, and the next Aqua Tail. Despite not playing recently, of course, we are going to try and display some good game mechanics using a 2-turn move into a 3-turn move. Timing nice and simple. You want to throw one quick move, 4 or 7. Hopefully after landing the Aqua Tail, we are going to be able to fully Gust farm down before they reach another Shadow Punch, which we are able to do, but unfortunately, them Astonishes did far too much damage. The opponent sends out Feraligatr greeted with the fly that forced the Protect Shield, and it's time for a 2-shield in Ninetales. From here, it should be a fairly simple endgame. I think one potential lose gone is the opponent potentially making a catch. So you can see there, we do pause the turn, ensuring Energy Ball lands on its intended target. However, Tinkaton's already took quite a lot of damage. I think even a catch wouldn't have saved them. Of course, we're not going to shield the first move in case the opponent gets the debuff. The second one would do more. I'm going to fire off one further Energy Ball. Is it necessary? Probably not. Sorry, not sorry. And we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Florges in the lead position. This thing is so bloody annoying. Most now run Trailblaze, as well as Chilling Water. So they either debuff you or boost their own attack. The opponent fire off the Trailblaze. Here, we're going to farm up. Fire off the Aqua Jet at the last second. This is actually quite a problematic Pokemon, to be honest. They can hit both my back 2 Pokemon for super effect. The opponent does me a huge favour. Attempt to snipe with Talonflame. Snipe attempt unsuccessful. We're able to force the final Protect Shield. And suddenly now that Florges doesn't look all that threatening. As is a regular Talonflame and not the Shadow, I do respect a potential Brave Bird. It's just a fly that I probably in hindsight didn't need to shield, but sometimes better to be safe than sorry. We overfarm, fire off the Stone Edge, get that massive one-hit KO here. We will respect the Trailblaze, but of course we get baited. Who doesn't love to bait a Shadow Pokemon? But the super happy Quagman, even at -1, going to be able to remove them from the field of play. With the Aqua Jet, the opponent then sends out Skeledirge. We are still debuffed. We're going to fire off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge, unfortunately, debuff doesn't quite get the job done. We pivot into Ninetales, looking to make the catch. Catch attempt unsuccessful. But Shadow Ball simply not going to cut it. The opponent recognises they're about to get bad-mannered, and they run for the hills. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see the annoying Tinkaton Melmetal. It's going to be a note from me and say, Quagsire, go quickly. Quagsire, see yourself staring off against Starmie. Another Pokemon that got the Aqua Jet treatment. The opponent doesn't respect the Stone Edge. That does crazy damage, and they don't throw either. So worst case scenario, we should force a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup, and we do exactly that. I do think that I should be fighting Switch Advantage here. I really need to flip that god-awful alignment. I almost actually get Switch. The opponent gets super low, but it does work out for him. As I haven't got alignment, I guess it's just going to be 2 Shield Ninetales and pray. Out comes Kingdra. Remember this. Look at this. An absolute savage Energy Ball catch. Oof. We are getting absolutely clowned on. Well played, Mr. Opponent. Here they actually go for a double iron bash. Yes, I've got shields, but am I going to shield a resisted steel move? No, this game's over. One Energy Ball only hits Kingdra for neutral anyway, as water takes super effective. A Dragon Resist. You can see here that I do try my best to reach double Energy Ball, but I highly doubt I'd do enough. I think it does like 50%. Unfortunately, get my ass clapped. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, I see yet another Tinkaton in the lead position. This one I'm going to play somewhat differently. Rather than letting bank loads of energy that can actually threaten my Ninetales later, we actually tank a move that didn't look all that resisted, to be honest. I near get one shot. They end up simultaneously swapping, but I do come out better. Well, I say better. Luckily for me, this one it does have Psychic Fangs that make super obvious after throwing after just 4 Thunder Shots. They've got Seed Bomb. This is definitely a matchup they can hang in. As I don't have Seed Bomb, I recognise the opponent probably isn't going to fight for Switch Advantage. I force in the Stone Edge and I'm able to remove more Peko from the field of play. Back out comes Tinkaton. We fire off the Aqua Tail, which is a very interesting shield for my opponent. The opponent then ends up playing to CMP. Quagsire reaches yet another Aqua Tail. And the opponent actually double shield. Please don't be Bastion. If it's a Bastion team, I'm going to be so salty. I pivot out into Ninetales and look to start loading up on energy. I will take the first ball, though. Despite having 2 shields, as if they've got like a water type or something like that in the back. Although not the most threatening move, something in the back could hit harder. The opponent actually sends out Talon Flames. That also makes sense. While they're petrified of the Quagmire, this game is completely over, as I've already got the Aqua Jet loaded on Swanna. We fire off the first Energy Ball. We fire off yet another Energy Ball. At this point, we should have burned off the Switch timer. Time to give the opponent that wham, bam, combo play. Hit him with the Big Mac and the fries. Aqua Jet, the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death to the face, and we take that game. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's showcase. My first showcase in over 2 months and the first one of the new season. So if you've got a Shadow Pokemon you want to see in action, post it down below as we are going to look to make a semi-return to content. I'd just like to say a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.